If you cheated on your ex, then you probably think that your relationship is over, even though, you desperately hope that's not the case. So what can you do to make it up to your ex and win that second chance that you deserve? Is it even possible? Well, first off, yes, I do want to offer you some hope. It is often possible to get your ex back, even if you have cheated on them. In fact, it happens all the time. Now, people don't want to admit that they'd forgive a cheater because they feel ashamed, but it really is way more common than you think. And if you don't believe me, here's a few stats for you. First, according to a study by the Kinsey Institute that looked at people who'd been cheated on, only 1 in 5 people said that they actually broke up with their primary partner as a direct result of the affair. And this fits in with the findings of acclaimed relationship author Peggy Vaughn, whose research says that up to 75% of couples who are rocked by an affair actually stay together. And according to another study in the Journal of Personality, 22% of men and 28% of women said they would be willing to forgive a cheater. And that's only hypothetical. So it really does stand to reason that even more people would be willing to forgive a real person that they actually love when it does happen to them. Now, of course, this will depend on your particular situation, the strength of your past relationship, how bad the cheating was, and of course, how your ex feels about it. But really, those things are all out of your control now. All you can do is decide how you're going to handle it from here. And if you do play your cards right, you can influence your ex's feelings and, in a lot of cases, get that second chance that you're looking for. Now, I, of course, am Brad Browning, author of the best-selling X Factor program, and I've been writing about relationships for most of my life now. And through my coaching, I've also helped tens of thousands of people get their exes back. And many of those people, many of those clients, originally broke up because of infidelity. Now, let's talk about what you need to do if you do want a second chance with your ex after you've cheated on them. First off, don't deny it. Whether they have text messages, whether they caught you in the act or whatever, if they broke up with you because of it, then they know the truth. And this means that you have to come clean if you haven't already. Now, you don't necessarily, need to go into graphic detail or tell them anything that they don't already know, but acknowledge that they know. You did cheat on them. And obviously, this is where the apology comes in. Now, an apology is important if you cheated, but you need to make sure you do this right, because this is where many people mess up and ruin their chances. So you don't want to apologize too much. You also ideally don't want to, break down crying and start begging for forgiveness. And definitely don't keep bringing it up and spamming them again and again with your apologies. This, unfortunately, does happen to a lot of people. They'll feel so guilty and ashamed that they'll suddenly start apologizing for every little mistake that they made in the past, or saying that they're a bad person, that they deserve to be dumped, and blah, 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 blah. Now, I know you probably feel that way too, but this kind of outburst is just going to push your ex further away. You need to really, keep on topic. Focus on how the cheating affected them rather than how bad getting caught has made you feel. But on the other hand, you also don't want to sweep it under the rug completely. You do need to take ownership over what you did and how it affected your ex. You need to explain that it was a mistake, that there's no excuse, and that it will never, ever happen again. And above all else, tell them that you're sorry. Now, I don't know how many people I run into who say, I apologize, but they're still mad. And then I often find out that the words, "I'm sorry," never actually left their lips. So definitely don't make that mistake. One of the worst mistakes you can make here is trying to police your ex's emotions around this. Now, you've probably done this in the past without knowing it. Really, we all have. But this is basically anything you do to, try to cheer your ex up during this time. I know you want them to feel better, and that is admirable, but if you overdo this kind of behavior, you're putting a ton of pressure on your ex to essentially, suck it up and just move past this rather than dwelling on it. So this might, mean repeatedly saying things like, "Please forgive me," or "I just want to make you feel better." And obviously it also includes things like, "Are you still mad about that? Get over it already." Or, it could even include elaborate shows of remorse, over-the-top gifts, or essentially you're trying to pressure your ex to forgive you on your timeline rather than on theirs. Now, obviously, the relationship is seriously damaged. And if you just try to jam the pieces back together, then it's going to break. When you want your ex back, you don't want to let them out of your sight, obviously. And this feels especially pressing when you've cheated on them. You probably can't stand the thought of them sitting alone, in pain, thinking about how angry they are at you. Or maybe worse, out having fun without you. Now, I totally understand it, but you need to let it happen. If you try to maintain contact with your ex during this time, you're just going to keep bringing up these negative feelings. They really need time and space to actually process this whole mess and work towards forgiving you. And they really can't do that if you keep hanging around. The good news, though, is that this time apart will allow them to cool down and will soften their anger towards you. And that's part of the reason why I recommend no contact after every breakup, whether or not cheating is actually involved. So definitely give them space, don't bug them, and let them start to miss you. Remember, actions speak louder than words. So now really is a perfect time to make some big changes in your life. Normally, in this situation, I suggest things like improving your fitness or focusing on success at work or school. And all those things are great, but in your situation, you really need to show your ex that you've changed. Now, I'll talk in a minute about addressing the underlying causes behind the infidelity, but remember, this isn't a one-step process. You really need to commit to it every day and actually put in the work. And you also need to cut off the person that you cheated with completely. So this means no contact with that person in any way, ever again. It also means, blocking them on social media, not going anywhere where they hang out, and never mentioning their name. Just, treat it like a restraining order. Now, I know some of you probably struggle with this because, you're entangled with this person. Maybe you work together, have mutual friends, or you're just connected otherwise somehow. And if this describes your situation, then it's extra important that you take this step. So try not to hang out with those mutual friends for a long time. Quit that job or, schedule yourself when you're not working with the person you cheated with. Get as far away from them as possible. I know this might feel extreme, but it really is vital if you want to get your ex back. Because if your ex, sees you anywhere near this person again, it's going to make all those feelings flare up, and you're really never going to be able to convince them that it's over. And honestly, can you blame them? So when we do something that hurts the ones we love, like cheating, it's really tempting to try to pretend like it's not really a big deal, or that we had a good reason to do what we did. But the truth is, there's really no excuse for cheating. And if you try to downplay how much you actually hurt your ex, you're not going to change how they feel. You're just going to drive them even further away. Now, I know it can be really hard not to do this. If we admit how badly we messed up, we have to admit that we hurt this person we love. But you do need to face this fact head on rather than running away from it. Because if you try to deflect, you're going to only fool yourself and you're going to end up pushing your ex further away. Now, dating during no contact is one of the best strategies to get your ex back because it makes them jealous. But if you cheated on your ex, then this definitely isn't going to work for you. Now, the good and the bad news is that your ex is already jealous. They're already afraid that they've lost you to this other person because they did, even if it was only for a moment. So if you start seeing other people, then you're really just confirming your ex's worst fears. You don't care about them and you want somebody new and exciting. So make sure that you keep your circle small during this time. You really don't want your ex to think that you're out fooling around with random people while they're at home crying their eyes out because of what you did to them. I know you're sorry, your ex knows you're sorry, and I'm sure that when you see them, you can't think of anything else, but you must avoid talking about the affair if you do want to have a chance to get them back. Now, there will be a time to talk about all of this, and that time is when they bring it up. You'll have to rebuild the trust that's been lost, but by talking it to death right now, you're really just kind of picking at the scab. And the worst part about all this is not knowing whether or not they're going to forgive you. So instead of bugging your ex again, why not take 5 minutes to complete my free quiz at breakupbrad.com/quiz. Just go there, answer a few simple questions to the best of your ability, and you will get the answer to the question, can I still get my ex back? Again, you can take the quiz for free at breakupbrad.com/quiz. Now, I already spoke about how you shouldn't pressure your ex and how giving gifts can be part of that, but there really is a little bit more to it than that. Giving gifts to your ex sends them the wrong message. First off, it feels like an attempt to buy their love. And no matter how extravagant your gift is, it's not going to change what you did. It's a physical solution to what's really an emotional problem. It gives the impression that you think you can just throw money at the problem and it'll go away. And also, this is essentially another apology, but in physical form. And as we've already talked about, apologizing repeatedly isn't going to help you out. It's probably just going to hurt you. So imagine you give your ex a big stuffed bear. This bear is just going to sit in the corner of their room or their closet. You want it to be a reminder of you and your love for them, but since you bought it when you did, it's really just going to be a reminder of how much you hurt them. Every time they see it, they're going to remember what happened. Now, cheating rarely happens in a vacuum. So think of it like this. Imagine we have a relationship with two people who are perfect for one another. They're both mentally healthy and not dealing with any past drama. They both were raised by, loving families, faithful parents. They've got no issues with alcohol or substances, no sex addictions, anything like that. The relationship has no issues. It's exciting, it's full of love, and both partners feel secure and taken care of by their partner. Now, in this scenario, the chances of cheating basically drop to zero. Now, I'm not saying that cheating is, excusable. There's no good reason to cheat on your partner. Obviously, it's dishonest, it's a breach of trust. But there is almost always something driving the cheater to actually make this mistake in the first place. About half of the possible issues here lie with the relationship itself. Often a cheater doesn't feel valued by their partner, or their partner is lying and keeping secrets, or there's money problems. Really, any issues you have with your partner or with the relationship that you've built can be extremely damaging and hurtful. Unfortunately, there's only so much you're going to be able to do to actually address these things while the two of you are still officially broken up. And if you make this your priority right now, you're probably just going to risk scaring your ex off. Because, while your intentions are good, you want to fix this issue and prevent it from happening again. To your ex, it's probably going to look like you're making excuses, or even worse, actually blaming them for it. So while it is good to, identify behaviors of both you and your ex that might have contributed to the situation, definitely hold off on trying to actually address these problems until you're officially back together and things are stable again. But in the other half of cases, the cheating will be spurred on by issues with the cheater themselves. So, maybe you have underlying mental health issues you're not dealing with, maybe substance abuse issues, maybe you're lonely, maybe you have a fear of commitment. Whatever your issue is, if it's your problem specifically, then now is a great time to address it. Now, obviously, this is going to involve a lot of soul searching. Maybe it'll involve therapy or quitting drinking or drugs. Whatever it is, you do have an opportunity to fix it now. You have time apart from your ex, and you've really had a huge wake-up call, and you actually have something motivating you as well. You want your ex back. You want a second chance. So if you fall into this camp, make a plan today and actually make it happen. You won't be able to completely eliminate this problem in a month or two, but you will be able to make huge strides, and honestly, probably faster than you'd expect. And when your ex does see this, they are going to want you back more. Now, when the time comes to actually reconnect with your ex, you need to take it very slowly. I've already talked about the importance of taking it slow. So if they tell you that they need more time, you have to back away and come back at a later date. But if you do reach out and they seem interested, then you can keep things going. Now remember, things have changed, but you are still the person that they fell in love with. So turn on that charm and reconnect in the way you did, back in the early days. Make them laugh, make them happy, and show them that the time apart has changed you and made you a better person. And honestly, if you get all this right with a little bit of patience, you will be back together in no time. Of course, if you need my personal help with your unique situation, I do offer one-on-one ongoing coaching for an extremely reasonable price. So check out all the details and register today. If I do have any spots available, just go to breakupbrad.com/coaching to sign up and get started. All right, and it is time to wrap things up here. Please leave your questions and your flattery in the comments below. I really do love hearing what you guys have to say and helping you out in the comments. So don't be shy. Go ahead and leave a comment right now if you have any questions or feedback. And of course, while you're here, hit like and subscribe as well. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.